SWOTAnalysis.com. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, and hello, everybody. Really excited to be here. Today, we're going to be focusing on 8 steps to building and protecting your perfect brand. I'm going to show you some real examples of what to do as well as what not to do, so you'll be able to see, some of the mistakes people made and also some of the successes people are having right now promoting their brand. When we talk about the power of the brand, we're talking about building something that can be really recognizable by people. And so you see these companies up here. As you can see, I have not put one name of a company up there, but I bet you can probably guess every single company that's on this board right here. And the reason why you can is because you recognize the brand. And these companies spend millions and millions of dollars every year to make sure that you know that brand. So when you see things like the Target sign, you know that's Target, or the Mercedes-Benz symbol, or the Nike symbol. So they spend that much money to make sure that you're aware of that brand, that it's instantly recognizable to the consumer. Now, the good news is that you don't have to worry about becoming a worldwide brand. You don't have to worry about keeping up with them dollar for dollar. You just need to focus your brand on your market. And so what we're going to try to do is show you some easy tips to be able to brand yourself so people recognize you, can see you and say, that agent is specializing in this, or that agent specializes in this area. And so I'm going to show you some real examples of how agents are doing this and building the ultimate brand building strategy. So people always ask, where do we start? Because you can go onto a webinar or go to a seminar and you can learn a bunch of different things. Great material. The problem is sometimes it becomes information overload. You get so many notes, so many handouts, so many things you can do that you don't know where to really begin with it. And so what happens is that you'll say, hey, I'm really busy right now. I'm going to get to that next week. And then next week becomes the next week after that. And then it becomes a month. And then it never happens. And you just lost out on a really good opportunity to change some things. So I'm going to talk about where to start and really walk you through this process so that you can see that in 8 easy steps, you can not only build your brand, but also protect it. So that's what you're going to need to do after you build it. So to start building your brand, you need to answer 3 questions. So question number 1 is, what do I do best in my business? What are my strengths? So this could be a couple things. This could be, for instance, what area of real estate do I specialize in? Is it a segment of the market like foreclosures, for sale by owners, luxury properties, waterfront properties, senior housing? What might it be? Now, one of the easiest ways to come up with what your strengths are is to see where you made most of your money last year. Was most of your money made from first-time buyers? Was it made from working with banks on REO and foreclosure properties? By seeing that, you're able to see what you're really good at, what your strong points are. So you definitely want to play to your strong points. But also you might want to say, well, wait a minute, I want to try to get into this new market segment, so I need to make that a strength. So that's something you want to be able to do. Then in this case, you want to build your brand around that. It doesn't have to be a market segment necessarily. It can also be an area of town. It could be a county. It could be a 3-town area if that's where your level of expertise is. So that's all part of building the brand. I think a lot of people want to focus on, well, is it going to be first-time buyers or foreclosures or luxury home buyers? It doesn't have to be that. It can be, hey, I can service anything in real estate in these 2 towns. I know these 2 towns better than anybody else. As a matter of fact, one of my clients I work with, he's got a tagline. He's been living in his town for 30 years. The town has about 80,000 people, and he says that his challenge on his business card is I can tell you the value plus or minus $5,000 of any house, any address in town. Now I say, well, how are you able to do that? And he says people know me by that because I'm able to pull up their information. And he's, there are times where he's going to be off, but the thing is he gets people talking. He's built that brand up, and he's known as that person who knows that area that well. So that's just one example here. But here's another example. And it's funny I bring this up today because there's some controversy regarding Donald Trump. And so here it says, Trump brand is worth $8 billion through brand building. The Trump brand is so important. And right now, this morning on the Today Show, they mentioned, and I live in Chicago, so this is actually happening right now in my neighborhood. Trump has a building there, the Trump Tower, and he had approval 5 years ago to have this sign put up, this big sign where each letter is over 20 feet tall, and I don't know how many feet wide. I mean, they're pretty big lettering, and he was putting them up on his building. And so he had the approval, didn't do it for a while. Now he wants to put it up there to really brand it because it's a beautiful building. It looks great. It's right on the Chicago River, and there's a lot of controversy. In fact, the current mayor, is really upset with it, and they're going to doing battle back and forth in the press about what they think. And they did a poll today, and 55% of the people polled said the sign should go up there. It's Trump's brand. And the thing is that his brand is worth a lot of money, and he talks about his brand. And so that's all about brand building. So people can see that and immediately recognize luxury, quality, and that's why he likes to do that. So it's really important to build that brand. But again, looking at it from a micro perspective, we're not Donald Trump. So who are we? So this is a company right here that it's a small company. They've been around for a long time, and they talked about building their brand. Now, over the years, this is a company from Connecticut. They built their brand pretty well. So when it came down to creating a Facebook page, they said, well, we want to build our brand up, and they put this picture up there with this type over it, over the photo, and this is a picture of the town hall, and it looks nice, and people can see that, and they recognize the area right away, people that know that market. But the thing is, it doesn't represent their brand. It's got their name on there, but there's nothing that really represents the colors of their brand, the logo of their brand. So we said, look, you've got to really just be consistent with your brand. So you got to keep the brand consistent. This is not consistent, but once we got our hands on it, we said, let us design this for you. This is how it looks, and now it's consistent because now you've got their logo on there. You've got their colors worked in there. And so by being able to do that, people see that, and they instantly recognize what the yard signs look like, what the brand is. And so that's why you've got to keep your brand consistent across all levels. So when you have your website, if you're happy with the logo or the colors on your website, what you've got there, you've got to keep that consistent on your signs, on your Facebook page, so that people can instantly recognize you with your brand. So that's step one. Step two is something that's a little bit harder to do sometimes, and that's identifying your weaknesses. Because a lot of times we don't want to even talk about our weaknesses. And because it's something that is obviously a sore subject for many. So, and sometimes we don't even see our weaknesses. We don't realize them. So it's important to go to a trusted colleague or your broker or somebody that, a mentor, and say, look, I need your help here. I need you to help me understand, what do I need to work on in my business? What will make me better as an agent here? And so identifying your weaknesses is important. And so one of the things here, this is a company in Chicago that is a customer of mine, and what we said was, hey, we're trying to find some things that that he's doing well and things that he's not doing so well. And so I said, well, this website looks pretty good. It's got it's got a photo on there. It's got an easy MLS search. Talks about some of his calls to actions here. And then I'm like, just as I was about to say, okay, well, I think he's okay with that, I decided to click on his social media icon. And when I clicked on his Facebook icon, it showed him having only about, I think it was something like 40 likes. And so what happened, this is it right here. I'm sorry, he had 19 likes on his page. And his Twitter page had 44 followers. The worst part about it was that I actually pulled this in, I don't know, March of this year. And he hasn't posted anything on his page since September 21st, 2011. We're talking about 2.5 years. So now here I am, if I'm a consumer, I'm looking at his website, I'm thinking, this is great. Looks good, okay, and you put those icons up there. You're putting a badge up there on Facebook. Like, hey, look, I'm on Facebook. Look, I'm on Twitter. Well, guess what? There's a chance that people are going to click on those. So if they click on them, you better be ready. Because right now, I was sold on him. I said, this guy, he's doing a lot of good things. I clicked on this, and it opened Pandora's box here. Okay, I'm looking at this and saying, wow, you got only 19 likes on this page. You got no photos up, and you haven't posted anything in 2.5 years. Do you think consumers might think that's a problem? Especially if you're so proud to have them up there on your Facebook, on your website, now that's an inconsistent social media campaign. That's not representing the brand. He doesn't have his logo up here, so that's a problem. And a number of consumers might say, you know what, I was going to work with him, but now I'm not so sure because he doesn't look like he's doing a lot on social media. Maybe he's not doing that well with business. When the reality is he's probably doing very well, but hasn't had time to get back and do things with his social media, or hasn't really put it that high up on the priority list. But the problem is he's left it out there for everybody to see with one click from his website. So that's a problem. Or a boring business page title. A lot of times, I travel the country speaking for Homes.com. I speak at a number of conferences, and one of the most common things that we see is 90 to 95% of the Facebook business pages that we see have something that say something like this: Joe Smith, Realtor, or Realtor Joe Smith, or Broker Joe Smith, or Joe Smith Real Estate Broker. And the thing is that 90, 95% all say that. So basically, if I go to my friends and family and say, will you like my page? They're going to like my page because they're my friend, they're my family member. But somebody who's outside of that circle, who doesn't know who I am, has no idea what I specialize in real estate, why are they going to like my page over the 30 or 40 other agents who've asked them to like their page? And if everybody looks the same, how do I stand out? So that's another thing that you need to think about. How do I redesign this title to where it represents my brand and really brings people in? Also, a lack of good online reviews. That's another weakness that people have. You know, people have been in business for a long time, and they don't have a lot of reviews on the popular review sites. So that's a problem. And what happens is they wait, and then somebody posts a bad review about them, and then they go into reaction mode to try to get a bunch of good reviews posted up there. So that's a problem too. That can be very problematic and definitely hurt some business. As a matter of fact, I say a lack of good online reviews, but here's one that's actually worse. And this is an actual Google review from an actual realtor and a broker. It represents the brand. Now, I should tell you, this happened, this is in the southeast, so it's nowhere near your market there, but I wanted to show you how I found this. I was talking to a broker, and we were talking about social media and reviews, and she said, well, let me see if I said, let me look up your company here. I went to Google, I typed in real estate brokers in their town, they came up, and it showed their Google review. They had one review, and he said, oh, let's see it. And I clicked on it, and it said this: I had an experience with an agent that left a bad taste in my mouth. They reeked of marijuana when we rode with them in their vehicle and kept driving by restaurants, I guess because they got the munchies. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like a bad review. Now, if you look at closer, look at the date on this. It's November 15th, 2011. I pulled this up about 6 months ago. So that sat up there for over 2 years. And she saw it, so 2 years, that was the only review that sat up there. Now think about how many people saw that review, read it, and said, I'm not going to call this company right now. I'm not going to call this person, and I'm not going to do business with them. That's not good. And here's the backstory is the agent wasn't even there anymore. He had left the company a long time ago. But in this review, not only did they talk about the agent, but they also talked about the company, and so it represented the full brand. So it's really, really important that, hey, you know what, I'm representing the brand, but I'm also representing the company. I got to make sure that, we got to make sure that this stays consistent, and so we're able to have good reviews and be able to really be on top of reviews that are out there. So you need to identify those weaknesses in your business. And then what you need to do is step 3, which is to identify the opportunities and potential threats to your business. So what I've come up with here, and this is not something I've invented, this is every company, every Fortune 500 company, and many others do a SWOT analysis. And what a SWOT analysis is it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you can see the 4 quadrants here I put up on the screen. And so your upper left quadrant is your strengths. And so this is where you talk about your strengths. So your strengths could be things like, what do I do that's best in my business? Well, I've got preferred listings on a website. Now you guys have the Fab Plus program. Fab Plus program gives you guys a ton of strengths because you got things that a lot of other companies don't have. So that would go up in your upper left-hand corner of all those strengths. These are things that you're going to want to tell and make sure you really stress to sellers when you're working with them to show them, hey, this is what we're going to be doing for your property when we list it. That's a very powerful tool that very few companies can say that they can keep up with. So that's something that Coldwell Banker has, many other don't. And the thing is, if you're not stressing that, then you've got to do that because there's so many opportunities that can be leveraged from using that as a strength. Knowledge of the area. Knowledge of the area also being on here. So if you look at something like where if I'm focusing on that 2-town or 3-town area, and that's my territory. I've been there for 30 years, and I know that better than anybody else. That's a strength. So I want to make sure I leverage that so that people locally know that, hey, they want somebody who knows the area, who's got a great contact list of potential buyers, that this is something that we can do, that they want to contact you. You got your weaknesses here, but opportunities could be things like, for instance, hey, there's a new subdivision going up, or they're doing a condo conversion, and they're looking for a broker to get in on that, or an agent. So this is an opportunity for me to maybe go in and do that. Or maybe there's an opportunity because you just got something, a bank's putting some things up for bid where you can get an REO contract or something. So there's a lot of opportunities that you can identify that can help make you money, help expand your market. Then there's threats. So threats can come in all shapes and sizes. So one threat is something like this. For instance, one of my clients that I work with, he does a lot of FSBOs. And he's been doing FSBOs in a 3-town area for years. Well, all of a sudden this year, 2 other people decided to come in and do FSBOs, and they've got a pretty decent system they're using to tax FSBOs. Well, guess what? He started to take some of his listings away, and so by doing that, it's cutting into his market share. That's a threat. So one of the things is you got to identify things. It could be a new office opening across the street. It could be new agents getting into the business that are now competing for the same listings that you are. And so you have to ask yourself, okay, you have to identify these threats, and then you have to figure out how can I turn those threats into opportunities. And so using some of the strengths, you're going to be able to leverage that. And we'll talk more about that here in a little bit after the next couple things I show you here. Okay. The screen seems to be a little jammed up here. Oh, okay, next, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so now I got a question for you for step 4. So what's open 24/7, 365, represents your brand and who you are, and can be a valuable tool for a buyer to find their dream home? And the answer is the website. It's open every day. It never closes. So as we become a more virtual society, it is critical for you to have a very powerful website that represents your brand, because you want people to be able to go there anytime. You want people to go there when they're talking to you. Sure, they're going to go to sites like homes.com, Coldwell Banker website, other sites as well, where they can search for properties. But the thing is once you can show them, hey, I've got all the listings on my website. You can come there and search all the listings, and I've got some really valuable tools. You don't need to go to the other site. And that's a great way to build brand loyalty, obviously, because now you can say, look, I'm the only agent that's on my site. So you're not going to be called or solicited from other agents. If you have any questions about any of the listings you see on there, and I have all the listings, you can, I can get you any information you need about any property. That's powerful stuff, and that's a great way to keep your brand consistent. So you want to really drive that point home on your business cards, on Facebook, on your Facebook page, on any type of advertising you do. Get people to go to your website, because show them we have everything here that you can get anywhere else, and that's really, really powerful. So to kind of give you an idea of what websites need to be today, so they need to be engaging. They need to be interactive. So you go right here, and you can see this website right here. This is an example of a site that I built for a company that they're in Colorado, and so they're really interactive. And so this is just an example of somebody who connected all their social networks. User friendly, easy to search, inviting, able to capture leads in multiple points. And also the biggest thing today is they need to be responsive. And I mean by that is responsive web design, so that when I'm looking at your site, whether I'm looking at it from a desktop or a laptop or a tablet or a smartphone, that site is going to optimize itself to fit that screen. And so that's what the new sites of today look like. And so every site that we build is like that, just so you know. And so that when somebody's searching, and as we know, mobile search is eclipsing desktop search, that they can have a nice, comfortable, and enjoyable experience of searching for listings on your website from their mobile device. And it's still easy to search. It's user-friendly. And what happens is that search homes, when you see a big search homes, it comes in, but never goes away from the center of the screen. So it makes it easy for them. And as you know, in the NAR study, the #1 thing people look for on an agent's website, where can I search for homes? So you want to have that front and center. That's a powerful tool. And then you also want to be able to capture leads from there. So some examples I have for you on that with your website are, for instance, when people if they want to sign into your site or register to get listings or get updates on listings or save searches on your site, they can sign in with Facebook or LinkedIn or Google. That's one way to be able to do it. When they do that, people think, oh, it's easy. I don't have to worry about remembering a password or a login. But at the same time, what they don't realize is that they're also giving you permission to access their information on Facebook. So you actually basically are bringing in a lead there that you're able to have on there as well. So that's one aspect of lead capture from your website. This one is really nice too, because you can do things like with a home tracker. Now this is like a saved search, and a lot of MLSs have things where they have the prospecting tools, and they say, hey, we've got a prospecting tool we can send out. Well, every agent has access to that. So they can say, well, you just give me your criteria, what you're looking for, bedrooms, bathrooms, price range, area, and every time a property comes up that hits the MLS, you're going to be notified. The thing is, what a lot of those do, though, is they just give you your email address and your phone number, so that when they get that, if they want information, they can email you, yes, I want information about that, or yeah, I'm going to call you about that. I want more information about this property, or let's set up an appointment to see the property. The My Home Tracker that we build into the site, for example, what we do for our clients is that people can actually save their search, and then when they get an example of something like this, it comes up to them, hey, here's a listing that meets your criteria. They click on view details, it takes them back to your website. So not to homes.com, not to anywhere else. It takes them to your website, and by seeing that, now they're able to say, hey, this is great, I'm on your site, and it keeps them there, it keeps them loyal to you because they're in that space now, and it makes it very easy for them to search other properties while they're there. You also want to look at getting something like a social wall built into your website as well. This is something where, and again, this is like another new trend. We talked about responsive web design. This is another really good opportunity for you. You're posting stuff on Facebook, on Twitter, you're posting stuff everywhere. And the thing is that, as you know, the Twitter sphere and the Facebook page, how fast a Facebook newsfeed moves. So unless I'm actually on your Facebook page or on your Twitter page, chances are if you post something like an open house or you post a new listing, I'm not going to see it. And that's just a fact of life, because if I'm following a bunch of people or I like a bunch of pages, I'm not going to see that on there. So what this does, having a social wall built into your website, it brings your social posts to life. So what it does is it takes your social posts that you've already posted to Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and Google+, and it brings them on, aggregates them together into your website where there's a social wall there. So now people can see that. So those open houses you posted on Friday, they're gone from Twitter within 5 minutes, but on Sunday morning, somebody goes to your website, they can see the open houses are still there. So that's another way to really promote that. Hey, you want to see all the open houses that are going on? Come to my website, and I've got all this stuff here. So there's some cool stuff. It's another reason to get people to your website. At the same time, they can see not only those posts, but the other social posts you put out during the week and the good content by giving that to life. And this is not just some type of phenomenon. I mean, there's a company that my friends Chris Smith and Jimmy Mackin, I was on their water cooler program a couple weeks ago, and they developed an entire company based on this concept, and it's called Curator. And what it does is it brings those posts to life. It gives new life to older posts that maybe weren't seen by the masses. So by doing that, you're bringing this right into your website here. So as I'm leading into Facebook here and talking about building your brand, I'm just going to give you three questions to ask yourself to build a better Facebook page. And the first question is what are my strengths? So you're seeing a lot of similarities here between building your brand on step 1 and this. This is not an extra step. So this is all part of, we're still in step 4 here. So what you want to do is identify your strengths. Now for me, I was a realtor for many years as an active seller. And then I became the national speaker for Realtor.com for 3 years, and now I've been the national speaker for Homes.com for 3 years. And so before that, though, how I got recruited to Realtor.com was through my work as a speaker and as an investor in foreclosures. So I became a foreclosure expert in Chicago, built a portfolio that I still manage today, and I also wrote a book on how to do it. And so, by doing that, if I was building a Facebook business page for foreclosures today, I would focus it on that because that was my market segment. And so when people see that and they say, oh, wow, he's done this, he wrote a book on it, and it doesn't have to be a book. You can write a blog post on it. There's a lot of things you can do or contribute to, be a contributing writer to a magazine or a newspaper, whatever it might be. When you have those type of qualifications on there, it really does bring people in and help qualify you as that expert. So that's an example there for creating the page. The second thing is, okay, now that I've been able to create what I want to do with the page, now why would someone want to visit my page? And this is where content is important. So you've got to bring the content in. So now what you need to do is you need to focus the content on the subject. So the subject's foreclosures, the content's got to be about foreclosures because that's what keeps people coming back. I want to talk about not only local stats, but I want to talk about national trends, techniques, and different things. So for my book, I would take a segment out of my book, maybe a paragraph or an important point, and then I do a little post on it, and then, again, trying to draw people back to either my website or wherever else I wanted them to go at that time. So that's where the content is really, really important to put on your page. Just some ideas for a title for your page to really build your brand up. And again, I just came up with some ideas, and I use this wherever I travel. So you're seeing stuff that doesn't even apply to your market. So that's kind of a good thing too, because then people want to jump on that one idea right away. But these are things that you can do to build your brand. So like green living in Phoenix, and you could be known as that green realtor. When people see that, first of all, it doesn't really say a whole lot necessarily about real estate, and that's great because the thing is that if I'm in Phoenix, if I live in Phoenix and I'm interested in green living, I'm going to like your page, not because I want to buy out or sell a house right now, but because I'm excited about about learning about green living in Phoenix. So the content's got to back that up, remember. You got the subject, that's green living, so you got to have good content that backs it up. But guess what? You put yourself at the right place at the right time. When they decide to move or buy a house, they're going to contact you because they've already loved the content you're putting out. They're educated that you're a realtor and an expert in that field because of the content you're putting out and because of who you are. Now remember, at first they don't know who you are, and that's the whole thing, is that when you're competing against all these other realtors for space, how do you bring people in that don't know who you are? The way you do it is by having something out there that they want. So if I'm talking about the Fort Worth lifestyle or the Del Mar lifestyle, okay, what is the Del Mar lifestyle? Well, that's great. If I live in Del Mar, I want to know what's going on there. I want to know where the big events are happening. I want to know what's happening around town. So these are type of things where by having that, providing that information, you're doing a great service to them by doing that, making it a really, really attractive page that they're going to. And at the same time, when it comes for them to buy or sell a house, they're going to want to use you because you've already become ingrained in their memory as that expert for Del Mar and the area. So these are type of things that you want to really start thinking about when branding yourself on your Facebook page. Now, this is another thing here that I wanted to talk about, because now people say, okay, I've got this great title built up for my page. I've got the content. Now, how do I promote this page? How do I get people to like it outside of my sphere? Because, you can go to your friends only for so many times and get those likes. How do you get noticed on your page after that? How do I get that brand out there? There's two things I'm going to show you. The first thing is promoted pages from Facebook. Now, I've done this a couple times. I've done some experiments. I'm going to tell you about an experiment I just did. I just did an experiment when I was on the curator, when I was on the show, the water cooler with Jimmy Mackin and Chris Smith a couple weeks ago. I said, okay, what I'm going to do is, there's a bunch of people watching the show. I said, I'm going to do something with a Facebook promoted page for the 2 days afterwards. I only did it for 2 days. And my budget was $30 a day for 2 days. So it was a $60 promotion. So that means Facebook was going to put it up there on people who had indicated that they, and I got to pick the age groups, demographics. So I picked something like from 25 to 65. I picked from people who've indicated like real estate and this and that. And so then once I did that, it really was able to really hone in on the segment of people that I wanted to like my page. They had to be realtors, because that's what my page is all about. And so when I went on this program, I said, okay, 2 days promotion, we'll see what happens. And in those 2 days, I picked up about, I increased my Facebook likes by about 10%. I picked up almost 100 likes in just 2 days off of that. So that was pretty cool, because for me, it was like, hey, that was just one experiment I did. Now, I've done many different experiments with that. I think promoted pages is a really good way to go on Facebook. And I think it gives you the ability to budget. You can budget from as low as $1 a day to up to as much as you want per day. And so, there's a couple different things you can do. You can run a $2 budget that runs every day of the month for $60. But I think the better way to do it is to target in shorter spurts. Because if you say, hey, there's a big day coming up where it's a slow week, maybe it's like the 4th of July week, it might not be a big week for people to like your page. So you could say, okay, well, I'm not going to do it this week. But the week after that, Monday through Thursday, I'm going to really load up on it. And so then you do $15 per day. So it's still going to be the same $60 that you would pay for the same month, but there's a good chance you'll get more likes in those 4 days than you would in the 30 days on the $2 a day budget. So that's something to keep in mind there. Promoted pages is a great way to get people to like your page who have similar interests to what your page is all about. And then, of course, the power of video is another way. So we're talking about things like YouTube. And one thing I want to show you real quick here is with YouTube, we talk about some user facts. The average number of hours watched per month, 6 billion hours watched on YouTube every single month. Number of U.S. viewers daily, 75 million. Percentage of U.S. internet users that watch video monthly, 83%. So, I mean, you get the point how important it is to be in video. And, we don't see enough people doing video, and that's one of the big things that, that is going to be emerging. But I think people are not as confident in their abilities to make video. One of the things, and this is something that's kind of funny, is that you see the power of video and how powerful YouTube can be. Because without YouTube, and I know you're probably really happy that this happened, but without YouTube, we would never have Justin Bieber. So I mean, that's probably very excited about that. One of Canada's biggest sensations and one of America's biggest things that we wish we could send back to Canada, right? But the thing is that he was discovered on YouTube through his videos. So there's some pretty powerful stuff on there that you can do. with YouTube. And this is some breakdowns, some drill downs on video usage for home shoppers. One of the biggest things that stuck out to me was this: find out more about a specific community. 86% of the people like to do that through video. So think about the idea you could do there with branding yourself. If you're talking about specializing in a community, do a community video. You do short little video spurts with of community highlights around town. I just bought a GoPro camera, so you can take it, like for instance, my GoPro, I can drive down the street and take this nice little really high definition image of a streetscape and do different scenes, and then patch them together and make it really, really cool looking, and put that video up on YouTube, put it up on Facebook. So these are the type of things that you want to think about when you're trying to build your brand, because video is so powerful, and that's one of the ways to do it, and not enough people are doing it today. Now, YouTube also sells ads, so you can buy ad space on YouTube to promote a video on there, or promote your YouTube channel or whatever it might be you're trying to promote. So just kind of show you in step one, and 4 easy steps of doing this, because this is one of the things that nobody's doing. I mean, I don't know anybody, maybe 1 or 2 people, that have actually paid for YouTube advertising. So how it works is like this. You upload your video to YouTube, you put in your YouTube channel, and we'll talk about creating that here in a second. And then you create an AdWords account. So if you already have a Google AdWords account, great, you just log in. If not, you create it, and it walks you through the steps on how to do that. So step 3 then, you'll launch your video ad. So basically, you have already got your video uploaded, you're logged into your account, it'll pull up the videos, and it'll say, okay, which one do you want to use? And you click on, this is the video I'm going to use, great. And then it'll help you pick out, like, okay, which keywords do you want to come up in? So it says running shoes, that's an example there. But you could type in the keywords you'd want to come up in the search, and then also it'll give you the breakdown of the demographics and show you who's actually watching your video. And what's really cool about it is that they have to watch your video for a certain amount of time for it to count as a pay per click. So it's not like, oh, I pressed this by accident, let me exit out of here. That wouldn't count as a click. So one of the things is that what YouTube makes sure is that somebody actually wants to click on your video and they're actually watching your video at least past a certain amount of time for that to register as a pay-per-click. So it's a really good value. I think like $10, you can do a $10 video ad, and I don't know how many clicks you get, but it's a really, really good value there. And again, there's not a lot of people that are using that. You see a lot of big companies using that, but you don't see a lot of agents doing that, or other small businesses. And then this is like in YouTube, we talk about creating a channel. So you want to create a YouTube channel. It's one of the things you definitely would want to do. Because what YouTube channel does is it's a way to park all your videos in one spot. And so I bring up this company here. They're out of Orange County. The boutique real estate group, a good friend of mine, Raj Kusar, owns it. And basically, he's really good with video. And if you've ever seen any of his videos, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you can check him out. But what he does is he uses his YouTube channel as the ultimate branding tool. Because his agents can go on any listing presentation and say to people, hey, and by the way, his market segment goes about $2 million now for his listings. But when he goes on there and he says, hey, we're going to do a video for you, we're going to do this and this for you, it's not just about saying we're going to do a video. It's about saying things like, let me show you some of the videos we've done. And now they show some of their past work. And they do that through their YouTube channel. When you're able to show somebody that and they see that, they're pretty impressed. And that's a way to take an opportunity, like a listing presentation, and then to show off your strengths, which is video in his case, to be able to leverage that into a listing. So again, using, like for instance, you guys have Fab Plus. That's one thing you need to stress when you're on that your competition doesn't have that. But another thing, if you can harness the power of video, you're able to really, really leverage that to your advantage. And then, of course, we all know that. I don't have to sell you on that. You know the power of video branding. It's all right there. The last thing is that when we go back in is that we also do, you can also advertise things on the portal brands like homes.com. You can actually sponsor a city, you can sponsor a zip code, and you can put your branding there. One example here is a Facebook neighborhood page, and this is a sample ad that I created for myself. So I want to drive people to this Facebook neighborhood page. They click on this, and it takes them to the Facebook page. So again, it's got nothing to do about real estate. It's all about that particular neighborhood. They click like. That's like capturing a lead. I've got another like to my page. And I also know that my branding is right there too. If they're interested in buying something real estate, I'm right there. And they know that I'm the local expert being right there. The other thing that you're allowed to do on homes.com, which you can't do on any other portal site, is actually put video in that same spot. So this person has a video here, and that's his community video. So you can actually, you sponsor a city, sponsor a zip code, people press play, and they're watching your video right there. And that's something you can really show off on presentations with buyers, with sellers, and everything else. So if you have questions about that, I'll give you my contact information. You can hit me up, email or phone, and I can look up your zip code or city for you. Those start only between $20 and $30 a month, and it's really cheap. It's based on number of views or impressions. So it's like 1,000 impressions it starts at, and then it goes up. It can go up by 100 blocks from there. And it's based on availability too. So, but the other thing is, if you're having trouble with video and creating video, one of the cool things that you have access to is, I know that some great apps out there. I think Videolicious is an amazing app. I know a number of offices that are using it. And I think you guys might be using it. So Videolicious is an awesome app to use. It's great. You can use those videos, and you can put those videos on YouTube. You can put them on some of the other things I showed you here. I bring up this Ignite Video app. It's another company. They have a Google app too. So I know that a lot of times people don't have the Android version because Videolicious does not have the Android version. So if you said, hey, I got an Android, what do I do? Ignite Video. It goes by Fuel 451 right now. So Ignite Video is the company, but the app is called Fuel 451, and they do some things there as well. So if you have an Android, that's a good video app to use. It's on the same premise as how Videolicious works, and it's pretty awesome. So as you can see now, we've talked about many different strategies for building your brand using the SWOT analysis. And this is another thing. You can take a SWOT analysis and you can use it on properties. When everybody does a market analysis. So how do you stand out? Stand out with a property SWOT analysis. Hey, these are the strengths of your house, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You've got a new roof. You've just redone your kitchen. Those are strengths. Here's the weaknesses. The air conditioner units is old, and so that's something that a home inspector could bring up. Or the windows are older. So these are things that could be brought up on a home inspection that could be used against you on that to get work off a credit, or it might be something that another property at a similar price that has everything updated could be used. So that's a potential weakness. And then the opportunities might be something like, hey, there's low inventory. You put your house on the market now, and you have less competition and a better chance to sell it. And then threats could be, hey, if we wait longer, there could be a lot more inventory going on the market, and that could be a problem. So those first 4 steps are all dedicated towards building the brand. And then the next steps, which we're going to go through pretty quickly, is about protecting the brand. And as you can see here, as Warren Buffett said, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and only 15 minutes to destroy it. And it's so true. And so we showed you that post that came up there on the Google reviews and how bad that could damage your reputation. And obviously you see a picture here of Lance Armstrong, and I don't think I have to say any more about that. His reputation is, pretty bad. So again, people search Google first. This is another thing I pulled up. This is in Chicago. These are the first 4 reviews. The bold print pretty much says it all right there. And those are things that are reputation killers. And more people every day turn to reviews to look at agents and brokerages. So it is so important to be proactive there. The question is, how do I do it? How do I get that out there? And that's part of the problem when people talk about, what do we do about getting those out there? Because, we've all asked for testimonials before. And what happens is you get to a closing table, you ask your clients for one. They say, yeah, we'll give you one, no problem. And then a couple weeks later, you don't have it yet, and you ask them again, and a little reminder in passing, hey, how are things going? You ask them again, and oh yeah, I got to get around to doing that, and they don't do it. And then what happens is that after a while, you say, well, I don't want to bug them anymore because they're still a great referral source, and I want to sell their house and have them be my client for life. And if I bug them, they're not going to like that. And we lost that opportunity. So we've got to come up with a better way to be able to get those reviews. So one of the things we talk about is your online reputation. That's the sum of your business visibility plus reviews. So we talk about local business reviews and how important it is to understand that they build trust and that people read the reviews. So, I'm sorry, we talked about step 5. Step 5 was the power of video. Step 6 is reputation management. So when we go into here, you need to do this. Get yourself registered and verified on the 3 major search engines: Google Local, Yahoo Local, and Bing Local. That's the first thing you should be doing because your information is on all of them, right? But again, sometimes the information isn't updated. So they might have a different website address. They might have a different email address. And so what you need to do is you need to go in and verify that. And they love that when you do that. Because if I go there and I look something up, a business, and it's not the right phone number, I don't blame the business. I don't blame the business. I blame Yahoo. right? And I'll say, no, I'm going to use Bing or I'll use Google because they didn't update that number, and I blame Yahoo for not updating that number. So that's something that's important. Get yourself registered and verified on those sites, and then what you need to do is this. You need to develop some type of template that you can send out to your clients at closing or after closing, thanks them for the transaction, that asks for referrals, so that's because we always want to do that, and then also says, hey, it says something like, hey, could you just go to here and leave me a review, a nice review, and you can actually copy and paste the link in there, and if you can do that, where you give them the roadmap to get there, and they can click on something, go to it, and leave a 5-star review, write 2 sentences, and it takes them 30 seconds to do it, they'll have no problem getting reviews. So these are things that you need to think about, because getting those reviews, you got to figure out how can I make it easy for people to leave reviews about me, and how can I do that? And I know people want to copy and paste the same review and put them on all the sites, and there's a reason why the sites don't let you do that, because they want the reviews to be unique. They don't want them to just be canned. They're just going up there on one site after the next. They want uniqueness there, and that's why a lot of them don't let you do that. So that's my recommendation for getting those reviews and protecting your reputation. The next thing you also need to do is you need to get yourself on some type of alert system like Google Alerts, or there's another company called Mention that's also out there, where you need to get yourself to where if somebody mentions you, talks about you on a social network, or leaves a review about you, that you're notified right away, so that you're not like that woman that I showed you earlier today in her company that the review sat up there for 2.5 years before she saw it. Okay, because that could be not only a reputation killer, but a business killer. So you need to be alerted right away, and the tools are out there for you to do that. So you got to get yourself on that where you're on alerts. Now, the next thing you need to do with social media is you need to make sure that you're not just focusing on pushing out open houses and pushing out listings, because it's not just about that. It's about really growing your referral network and being able to really communicate with people. So these are the social must-haves. You've got to have these sites set up. You've got to have a Facebook business page. You've got to have a Google Plus business page. You've got to have a Twitter page. You need to have a YouTube channel like I showed you. And then you need to have the visual pages like Instagram, Pinterest, and you need to have, and I think Foursquare is a great page as well, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that here in a little bit as well. But with the Google Plus business page, it represents your brand. And of course, not as many people are using Google Plus, but Google always involves Google Plus into everything it does. So having that there is great, and posting content there is even better, because there are people that are using it and people are seeing it. So get a Google Plus, get your business page set up, get some content posted there, and keep that going. Now, visual content is so critical, and if you don't believe me, look at some stats here. First of all, here's Pinterest, and you can see some examples of Pinterest and what people are doing. They're dedicating entire boards to their listings. They're dedicating entire boards to as you saw, the Orange County lifestyle. There's one I've seen one where he dedicates it all to burgers, the best burgers in Orange County, and I've seen numerous other ones from different people that are doing some really cool and creative stuff. And remember, the most popular search term on Pinterest is home. So 3 of the top 10 pin boards have to do with the home. That's really important to know. So why is visual content so important? You can see the study here. It's the pictures they took that are enjoyed the most. And I think if anybody's using Foursquare or Instagram or Pinterest, the most activity and the most likes come from the posts that have pictures there. 44% of respondents are more likely to engage with brands if they post pictures than any other media. So that's one of the things to understand, that pictures have become our default modes of sorting and understanding the vast amounts of information that we're exposed to every day. Pinterest, 70 million users and growing, 66% growth in referral traffic, 20% of all social referrals. Like I mentioned, home is the most popular category. Instagram, owned by Facebook, 150 million active users, 75 million daily active users, 55 million average photos uploaded daily. Pretty powerful stuff. So again, with Instagram, have something that represents your brand up there so that people can see that and identify with it right away. And these are some ideas that you should use and think about doing. We talk about just listed, and we talk about things like just sold. Instead of doing the traditional postcard, you can do that as well. But also, why not post that stuff on Instagram with something that's unique? It's like sold in 1 week. That's a great thing to say, because look at all the congratulatory she got. But not only that, if I live in that subdivision and I'm following her on Instagram, that makes me think about, hey, we're going to sell our house in the next 6 months. That agent just sold that house in 1 week. That's somebody we got to talk to. So again, it's resonating with people. Welcome home. That's a way of saying, hey, this is a new listing, so let me take a look at that. So these are some new spins on promoting these, and you can see the open house one as well. There's a lot of fun things that you can do on these different sites. And finally, so when you're building your brand, you're protecting your brand, the last thing you need to do is you need to kind of see how things are working from a back-end standpoint, and that's with reporting. So you need to get some type of reports where you can actually monitor how things are going. So for example, which sites am I on, and which ones am I registered and verified on? So there's reports out there where you can actually go in and see where you are, and this report doesn't do it justice. This is it's actually much larger than this, because it talks about the 3 search engines, then a bunch of review sites, and then it goes to directory sites, and there's a bunch of the directory sites, and then the social networks. So if you see, for instance, here, a green check mark, that means that you're registered and verified on that site and you're good. If you see a red X, it means that you are not on that site. And if you see a yellow caution sign, it means you're on that site, but there's potential errors in the listing, which means that they might have a wrong phone number, wrong email address. So those are type of things where you want to be able to use those to your advantage. And then also for social reporting, you want to be able to see not just, hey, how many people like my page, but how many people from week to week and month to month are liking my page, and who likes my page. There's reports out there that can actually give you demographic data to tell you, here's a breakdown of the age groups of people who like your page. Based on the people who like your page, here's an aggregate of where that average person shops, what kind of, where they dress, what kind of clothes they're dressing up in. That's powerful data, because if you want to post content, this will help you really, really zero in and target that segment, which is the majority of your Facebook fans. So these are really cool. And you can see there they break down where all your friends and likes are coming from. If they're coming from Facebook, from Twitter, from Google+. Again, anytime you're mentioned, you get reports, so you can pull up all your mentions. Also reviews, and there's companies out there that actually they can actually take all the reviews from all the sites like Yelp, Google Reviews, all the other review sites, and aggregate them into one report. So you don't have to worry about, here's my Yelp report, here's this, here's that. No, they're all in one report, so they can see them and make it really easy to have, here's my overall score. So again, if you have like a really good Yelp score, but maybe another one might be lacking a little bit, when they aggregate them together, it brings up the average score. That looks that much better. So being proactive, now if you're on a listing presentation, you say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know how important it is to get references or look at reviews. I've taken the liberty and pulled up my latest reviews for you. Here they are, average score, average rating. You can read the reviews there, and also you can see where the breakdown is of where the reviews are coming from, and you can see what's trending, which means, am I trending as in good reviews or trending in bad reviews? So if you have a bad review, but it was from a year ago, and you've had nothing but good reviews since, the trending will be very good. So this way, that will help negate any type of saying, oh boy, you had a bad review, what was that all about? These reports are so powerful in that respect. And then competition analysis, where you're actually able to take all this stuff we showed you, and you're able to go in and say, okay, who are my 3 or 4 biggest competitors in the area? So if you're an agent, you're going to go again, you want to put in your 3 biggest agent competitors, and then you want to type in things like, hey, these are my keyword or key search terms that people are looking for when they type in on Google how I would come up in a search. So real estate, and this is an example, real estate in Park Ridge, Illinois, or homes for sale in Park Ridge, Illinois, and we go down, and there's actually 4 different ones you type in information for. Then you click calculate, and it actually pulls up your share of voice. And share of voice simply means how many times your name is coming up in that search on the search engines, Google, Yahoo, and Bing, versus the competition you've entered into your competition graph there. So these things exist. They're out there. And so there's some really cool places to get them. One of the things I want to mention, I know I threw a lot at you. You can connect with me anytime. But we do actually have a program out there called Homes.com Social that actually does all that for you. So when we talk about doing everything for you, we actually set up your social networks for you, the 7 essential ones like I mentioned on there. We install some custom applications onto your Facebook page. We design your Facebook page to represent your brand and your logo, and so that it really does keeps that consistent. In addition to that, we're also posting every single day for you. So this way you don't have to worry about it. And this is something that if you're doing it, great, you got some great things going, but a lot of agents are really busy, they don't have time for this. So we post for you every single day across Facebook, your Facebook business page, your Google Plus business page, and your Twitter page, and we're pinning 10 items to your Pinterest boards every single month. In addition to that, we do give you a social wall, because we include a website actually with this. And then we also give you get a website, you get the social wall built into your website, And you also get the social reporting. So I showed you those reports, the social report. You actually get that included. And then we talk about the social listening. So we set you up on everything. We do all that stuff for you. We get you registered and verified on the 3 major search engines. In addition to that, we also get you set up on alerts, so you're alerted anytime somebody mentions you. And then we also provide you templates like the ones I mentioned that you can send out to your happy clients to get those reviews. And then we give you those back-end reports that I just showed you. All those reports, those are all included in this program. So this is a pretty cool thing. And what we've been able to do for this for this session is also include social support. So what you get is you get access to free webinars for training for social media. You get a monthly newsletter that shares the latest tips, tricks, and trends in the industry. We also give you your very own social media rep that can help you with things like setup, that can help you with things like how do I respond to a negative review. So these are the type of things that we can do. The whole social package, it's $199. Since you guys already are customers of Homes.com, because with the Fab Plus program, we can do this. If you just want to do the social package I just mentioned, it's on sale for you guys for only $159.95. So it's a really good deal. It's month to month. There's no setup fee. There's no contract. So I just want to put that out there for you guys if you're interested, and you can connect with me. My information's on here. You can call me. You can email me. I'd be more than happy to help you out with that as well. So at this time, I think we just open it up to any questions you guys might have.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question over the phone, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile a Q&A roster. Again, that's *1 on your telephone keypad to ask a question. We have a question from the line of a participant whose information was unable to be gathered. If you could just state your first and last name, your line is open.
Are you talking to me? Could be.
Yes, please state your name.
My name is Randy Pollock, Coldwell Banker, Santa Monica, and I wasn't able to log on to see any of the visuals, and I'm wondering if there's any way to do that at a later time, and possibly be able to sign up for your service. I'm interested, but couldn't see anything.
What I can do is I can send out the entire. Actually, this is actually being recorded. So right. the whole session is being recorded. So they're going to be able to share this whole session with you guys right afterwards. They're going to tell you how you can access that. So yeah, you'll be able to access that, no problem. The session has been recorded, so you'll have that. With regards to being able to connect with me, let me just I'll give you my email address, and it's really simple because I know you can't see my screen. So
right.
It's my email is Joe, J-O-E, at homes.com. It's pretty simple. You can email me there. Yeah, and if you have a pen and paper, you can also call me. I'll give you my direct line number here. It's 561 981. Yeah, 981 5966.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry to disturb everybody.
Yeah, no worries there. No worries there. So yeah, they'll have that for you, and I know that they're going to get you the information right after this, because there's some people that could not make the session, and they want to make sure they have access to be able to see the webinar.
Again, your next question comes from the line of another participant whose information was unable to be gathered. If you could just state your first and last name as well, your line is open. Again, participant, please state your name so that we know your line is open.
Hello?
Hello, can you state your name, please? Your next question comes from the line of Janine Bergstrom. Your line is open.
Hi. Just wanted to clarify the pricing. Is it monthly or is it a one-time fee?
Yeah, so it's $159.95 a month if you just want the social media package, everything we talked about. And so what we do is, that's a special price now. Just keep that in mind. It's a special price for Coldwell Banker because you guys are already existing customers in our deal that we have with NRT. So what's really cool about this is that you're able to take advantage of a price that, that's normally $250 a month. It's month to month. There's no setup fee. So you can see there's a lot of things being worked on that first month, building that. We waive the setup fee for you guys here, and so and there's no contract. So yeah, it's a monthly fee, $159.95. If you said, hey, you know what, I think the website's a cool idea as well. For the extra $40, you can get a website that we give you as well. And now that normally is a $299 price. We give it to you for $199. So that's the two options that are there, for this package.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Again, if you'd like to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad.
So if I can just say, if you guys were interested in doing that, there's two ways. You can either call me. I also, as far as with regards to sending out that, if you were interested in saying, hey, I want to sign up for it, the easiest way to do it is you can just send me an email, say, send me the order forms. I can send you the order form. You can fill it out and then send it back to me. We'll get that process for you. The other way you can call me, and my number's up on the screen as you can see. And if I'm not available, if I'm on the phone with somebody else at the time, leave a message, say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I was on the webinar, call me back, and I will call you back, and I will make sure we get that done for you. But basically the steps are this, and I'm going to work with you through the first 2 months. I'm going to work with you personally, at least probably every week, maybe every other week, to make sure that we're hitting those targets. One of the things I've noticed that if you're doing this, people sign up, they love it, but then they get busy, and then they don't get everything set up. And so then they're like, hey, I want to make sure that you get that done. And so that's my personal commitment to you. So I will be there to make sure that you get everything set up and you see it working in action for you. And so that's why I like to try to keep it on that personal level. And then once it's running, there's nothing else you have to do. Everything's running for you. You can just go back and look at the report. So I just wanted to add that, these are things that people can do on their own. Everything I mentioned is everything you can do, every single one of these things on your own. But keep in mind is that it's time consuming. And to hire an assistant to do this, you're going to pay more money than what you're paying for something like this. So that's why this is something that's a great alternative out there. It's real estate focused, and at the same time, it's being done by one of your preferred vendors who's already part of the FAB Plus program, which gives you a great discount on that.
We have no further questions in the queue.
Ryan?
Yes.
Ryan, if there are no further questions, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up.
All right, this concludes today's conference call, ladies and gentlemen. You may now disconnect.